Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely Saturday morning. So there's something I just want to get off my chest so I can just have my rant, grieve it, and then move on. This is not a video that you're really going to probably learn anything out of or get anything out of, so it's most likely a waste of your time and not worth watching. On this channel, I've talked about if you're starting a business that you're going to have to invest in yourself. I did this video saying some sacrifice goes a long way because a lot of people are not willing to invest in themselves when they start a business. And I talk about that here. And I try to just give you a little bit of insight into the Shawshank Redemption like sewer of shit that I feel like I Andy Dufresne myself out of with my little metaphorical rock hammer as I started this company. This is a video from 2013, 10 years old, and it's showing footage of what my apartment looked like in 2009. In order to afford an ultrasonic cleaner, I lived in a room that was about 100 or 90 square feet, and I just showed you how I kept everything. And all of this was done. I lived in this place that was filled with mice. This is actually the place that inspired me to get Mr. Clinton because it was filled with mice. All of this just so that I could afford this ultrasonic cleaner that's over here, because I could not afford to buy the ultrasonic cleaner that was really important for liquid damage repair if I did not save money on my rent. And the difference between the place that was a normal apartment versus the place where I had roommates and I had this much space for myself with mice was literally about $450, which was the margin necessary for me to be able to buy this cleaner, to do work and move on. I've always been aware that investing in yourself is necessary, and I've always been willing to do that, crawling through the proverbial Shawshank Redemption sewer of shit to try and move my business forward, to try and create something for myself that would provide for myself and others, that also I hoped would kind of be a force for good in the world. And the thing that kind of bothers me about what happened recently. In these two videos, I go over a New York State lien and then a warrant that was put out on me in error because they could not keep their own record straight that I never knew about because they were mailing all the correspondence about it to an address in Maine over 400 miles north of me. Is that the entire time that I have been talking about my business failures in this channel, when people have asked, why don't you expand your business? And I've said, because I'm not good at raising financing or anything else like that. I didn't realize that this entire time, it was because New York State essentially sabotaged my ability to gain financing as a business for 7 years. So there are many times where I've thought about expanding my business using financing or applying for financing, lines of credit, and things like that. In 2016, in June or July, when the YouTube channel really started to blow up after Apple had requested I take down my videos, and that video on planned obsolescence and the $750 repair that was done with, like $2 of stuff, when those repairs were really, really exploding on the front page of Reddit, I thought maybe I could get a line of credit so I could use this to hire some more people before the new business starts coming in, and I was declined. In 2018, right after the CBC News piece came out, I thought the same thing. I had a lot of business coming in. I was thinking of getting another office, maybe hiring 6 or 10 more people to handle the incoming business that was coming in. Couldn't do that because my business doesn't charge people until you're done, and I wouldn't have had the money to pay them. So I wound up working myself until 2 or 3 or 4 in the morning every single day, and I actually live streamed it at the time. It's Christmas Eve. I'm nauseous. Let's fix a MacBook. 4 hours of streaming. Sick on Christmas. Throwing up. Fix a MacBook. It'll cure you right up. 4-hour stream. It's a new year. Virus is back. Time for a sick MacBook repair. Instead of, I wasn't able to afford hiring new people, so I would just stay at work until 4 or 5 in the morning every single day. No days off. Didn't matter if I was sick. Didn't matter if I didn't feel well. Just got to go in because, again, got to do what you got to do. When I wanted to move to my new location, when I applied for line of credit, business loan, any sort of financing to do that, got nothing. And the places that I went to never said, they would just say, you've been declined. And I asked, well, what is the specific reason? They said, we can't sure, blah, 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 blah. Admittedly, some of this is on the lenders. They never said, oh, by the way, it looks like you have a lien on you. Liens mean that we think you're a bum. You should probably take care of that because only deadbeats are going to have liens on them. Like, I never got that kind of feedback. So I could blame the lenders. But I feel like it is more accurate to blame the people that inaccurately, mistakenly placed that lien there and that warrant to begin with, and never actually sent me mail to my registered business address that they had on file to tell me that that was placed there or that they were taking me to court. The last 7 years, When people have asked, why don't you open stores in other states? Why don't you expand? Why don't you, hire other people to do other types of device repairs that you don't know how to do and all this type of other stuff? My response has always been the same. It's that in this business, you need to have enough money that you can hire people, that you can buy the equipment, you can buy the parts before you start making the money and before you figure out if that's actually going to be profitable. You need to be able to work on, let's 30-day timeline where can you pay rent at the end of the month, or when it comes to payroll employees on a 7-day timeline, I need to make my money back on you within 7 days because that's when I next have to pay you. And if you don't have the money to do that, then that's the type of expansion that can't happen. And I look at what we've been able to do with again, not being able to get credit throughout the entire course of my business when it comes to lines of credit and things like that, not just credit cards. And I think that we've done pretty well for ourselves. Again, 4.9 stars on Google, over 1,500 views. Even if you go to archive.org and you search for what we had prior to us having a large YouTube channel, we had really amazing reviews online before the YouTube channel even really had more than 10 subscribers. And I'm very proud of that. I'm very honored that we were able to do good by enough people to have that level of reputation. But I just kind of wonder, what if I had access to the types of credit and the types of financing that every other repair business that doesn't know how to replace backlight fuse, that outsources a computer and sends it across the country when they have a bad trackpad cable. If we had access to the type of business financing that virtually every other company had access to, what could we have created? What could we have done? Would there be 5 or 10 or 100 Rossmann Repair Group locations across the country by now? Would I be a multimillionaire to the point where I could have raised money to lobby for right to repair without having to do a public GoFundMe where I ask my audience if they want to donate $1 to my 501c4? Would these bills have been passed already? What kind of effect could we have had on the world? Maybe we would have won. Maybe if I had started the lobbying stuff in 2016 instead of 2021, maybe we'd live in a different world by now. Maybe my employees would be making $150,000 to $250,000 a year instead of their present salaries, because instead of him being a manager of one store, he would be the regional manager for the Northeast. These are the kind of things that flow through my head. And I know you're not supposed to think about the past. You're not supposed to think about what could have been. You're not supposed to think about the areas where somebody had screwed you or messed with you or fucked with you in a way that took away. But it's very, very, very difficult for me to look over the past 7 years and ignore the fact that a clerical error by a moron that worked for the state that could not even get my address right is responsible for the last 7 years of my life going radically differently. It's very, very difficult for me to not just imagine or dream of what it would have been like if I was able to get some $400,000 or $800,000, even $100,000 of financing 7 years ago. What would this business have been? What would the repair industry look like? What would my life have looked like? Would I have been working until 1 a.m. when sick on Christmas Day instead of spending the time with my family because I was so behind on work because I couldn't afford to hire the people and have the space for them until I already made the money from doing the repairs? What would my relationships have looked like? Because there are many times, and one of the things that I've felt the most guilty about when I look back over the past 10 years, the thing that I'm absolutely the least proud of by far, were those times where there were those business spikes where when you do have those spikes, you either have to really, you have to work to maintain them and work to make sure you don't fall off the treadmill, don't piss off customers so that you can get to the next level and make the money to actually hire more people, or you fall off the treadmill and you fail. And those little inflection moments, you really do. Again, you either hire more people ahead of time before you have the money with a line of credit. So at those inflection points, you can only work 8-hour work days. Don't hire more people and work your ass off 12 to 16 hours a day so that you don't fall off the treadmill or fall off the treadmill and have a 3-star reputation. At those inflection points, some of the things that I'm the least proud of, some of the parts when I look back at the last 10 years I regret the most, were these times where I was just sitting there working on tickets at 1 or 2 in the morning, just going through every single one of them, responding to 157 tickets. And it's 1 or 2 in the morning, and my girlfriend just says, "Hey, come to bed. When are you going to come to bed?" And I'm just saying, I'm busy. And then she says it again. And then I literally don't even reply. I'm just working, just to not fall off the treadmill. And just thinking about the idea of an ex-girlfriend that literally fell asleep alone because I was busy working on stuff, when all of this could have been so radically different if some clerical fuck had simply accepted the tax return that I had sent them with a check that they cashed and just applied it to the right business. Or if when they didn't apply it to the right business, simply send out a notification to the address that was on file on that effing tax return saying, by the way, we're too stupid to apply your tax return, so we're suing you. Just that, like that type of basic stuff. Actually changed the course of my life, the course of my relationships, the course of my business. I take accountability and responsibility for those decisions that I made. I made the decision to do that. I made the decision to prioritize my business during those inflection points over my relationships, my personal life, my health, my well-being. At that same time, I just can't help but wonder, what would it have been like if the state had not been actively sabotaging my ability to gain financing through all of those inflection points in the way that other businesses were not being sabotaged in the same way in my same field. Again, to be clear, I'm grateful for, I'm grateful for where I am. I'm very grateful for where I am. I could be doing way worse off than I am right now. Having a business with like 4 to 6 employees, being able to in some way be your own boss, it's a gift. It's a miracle. It's something to be proud of. But it's hard to imagine what things could have been like if I didn't have those opportunities taken away from me. And I'll be honest, it is incredibly difficult. It's easier said than done to let go of the resentment for what could have been when you just kind of go back through the years of your life and think about how things could have been different every step of the way. And the reason that they're different is, again, if you look at all the videos I've done on business and failure on this channel, I always take accountability and responsibility for it. I have several videos in this channel going over business failures, stupid things that I've done. They're usually titled how to be, like, I internalize it. I take accountability and responsibility for 100% of it. But when it just stares you in the face like this, like when you actually get to listen to the people that were accountable and responsible for doing it to you, and you get to see it on paper, and you vindicate, like, this wasn't me. I wasn't crazy this whole time. These people weren't not giving me money because they didn't believe in my business or whatever. It was because the state of New York, in a stealth fashion, placed a warrant on me. I'll be honest, I don't know how to let that go. I really don't. It's probably going to take a while. It's very easy to say, let it go, move on, stand the other. It's very easy to say. When you're not the one experiencing it. One thing worth mentioning is that before I actually knew anything about this lien, before I had any idea that there was a lien on my company, I was emailing back and forth with Eli, the computer guy. We email back and forth from time to time. He's been a good business mentor, a good YouTube mentor, and I respect him. And I remember just starting the email off talking about running a business and just saying, do you ever wake up one day and just not find this fun anymore? Do you ever just it's one thing to, in the early days, like you get kicked in the nuts and then you come back stronger and you get up and then you get kicked in the nuts again, you come back stronger, and it's like, it's fun, it's challenging, but at some point you just get kicked in the nuts hard enough that you get back up, but you just decide, you know what, I'm not gonna get in front of the dude with the steel-toed boot again. And I was at that point a few months ago, and at this point, I don't find this fun anymore. The whole experience, the whole running a business, doing your own thing, all this stuff, I've had this feeling in the past, and I always get over it within like an hour or two. But I've been sitting here, and I went to sleep, got dinner with some friends, went to the gym and everything, and it's like, this is the first time in like 15 years where for a full day I just thought, I don't find this fun anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired of it all. Maybe it'll change tomorrow. Maybe it'll just change after I do this video. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the warrants, the audits, the random audits, the inspections, and all the other crap that piles up on top of all the other messes you have to deal with running a business. That's about it. I just wanted to get that off my chest before I went to work today. I'm going to be driving into work at 12, and I'm going to be taking a friend to go see a dog breeder because he would like to get himself a dog. I've tried to advise him against this. I've told him many times over and over again, cats are better. There's no competition. Cats are better. But he's a friend. And since he's a friend, if he wants to make the wrong decision with his life, I'll help him make the wrong decision with his life. But I'm going to prod him along the way. I'm just going to let him know that he could have something like a Clinton instead of something that goes woof. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you for allowing me to rant. It was helpful. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.